Folks at home, welcome back to the 5-acre pond build, and if you missed the previous videos in this series, I'll put a link down in the description below. So while we watch a time lapse of the pond filling up, we're going to talk about the next 4 projects out at the pond, and the first one is liming. It's recommended to lime it at 5 tons per acre, so we're going to bring 1 dump truck full of 25 tons of lime and mix that in with the pond water to get those alkalinity levels up. And the next project is hydro-seeding the dam. And hydro-seeding is basically spreading a sticky seed mulch on the slopes of the dam, and that really helps with erosion throughout the winter. And after that, we're going to be adding the bait fish. And then the last thing on the list is to add some diffusers. That helps out with the oxygen, and it also keeps the lake balanced. So we got all that booked, but everybody's busy this time of year, so you'll be seeing that any day now. Alrighty folks, we finally got some rain this week, and it definitely helped bring the water level up quicker. And one of the things we're going to be doing today is some underwater drone exploring. And we marked all of the different structure piles with signs and duck decoys because we knew once the pond filled up it would be hard to locate them. This is what the pond looked like just a couple of months ago. We've got structure piles everywhere. We even built some tunnels and basically made it like an obstacle course for fish. So now that the pond's almost full, we're going to see what it looks like under the water. But check this out, guys. I was standing out here on the dock and I saw a turtle, and this is actually the first turtle to pop up in the pond, and then a duck popped up right behind him. So I guess we have no choice but to give you an update on the wild ducks. So if you watched last week's video, we had a pair of bufflehead ducks come into the pond, and I was really interested to see how that played out because if you watched any of our videos, you know that we have a lot of predators in the area. So the buffleheads left after a couple of days, but then this new duck popped in. And I'm definitely not a duck expert, so leave me a comment below if you know what type of duck this is. It's got a really pointy bill and maybe a little bit of fluffy hair on the back of its head. But I'm obviously happy to see all these wild ducks coming into the pond because eventually we want to be able to release our pet ducks. But the ultimate test is going to be to see if any of these stay around for a few weeks, because I know a lot of these ducks are just migrating south for the winter, and they may just go pond hopping. But one thing I do know that I have to do is get them some food if I want them to stay around, and we will be addressing that later in the video. Alright folks, it's that time again for a cooking segment, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make beef jerky or deer jerky. We got all the seasonings right here that I'm going to be using to marinate it in. Got that laser engraved logo on the cutting board. Love how that turned out. And the first thing you need to get to make jerky is some lean meat and a good sharp knife. So today we're going to be using the Kamikoto knives. You've seen them in our previous videos. I love how sharp they are, especially for applications like this, cutting jerky meat. And if you're not familiar with them, these knives are made using high quality Japanese steel, and each knife goes through a 19-step process that takes several years to complete. Alright, we got our meat here, and the first thing I'm going to do is leave it frozen. So you don't want to thaw it out. With it being frozen, it makes it a little bit easier to cut in thin strips. And the knife I like to use for jerky is the Yanagiba, and it's 13 inches long, so it makes it perfect for cutting larger pieces of meat or fish, and it's also a great sushi knife. But there's 2 tips to making good jerky, and the first one is you want to cut all of your pieces at the same thickness because it takes a long time to dehydrate the meat, and this will make sure they're all done at the same time. And the second is you want to use really lean cuts of meat. You definitely don't want any meat that's got fat in it, and if it does, you need to cut it out. So for the marinade, I like to use Dale's and Worcestershire sauce, and then if you like that smoky flavor, put a little bit of liquid smoke in there. Alright, so once you get it laid out on the trays, this is the time if you want to spice it up. That red pepper is perfect, or some cayenne pepper, but southern flavor always just adds a good natural charbroil taste to it. But once you get it seasoned like you like it, just going to stack everything here. And I like to cook it on 160 from about 4 hours to 8 hours, and you can just pick a piece off and try it out, and that'll let you know whenever it's ready. So I'd highly recommend these Kamikoto knives, and don't just take it from me, they're used by Michelin star chefs all over the world. And they also make a perfect gift for Christmas because they're shipped out in these ashwood boxes. So go check them out. I'll put a link down in the description below that will give you $50 off your purchase. So if you've watched our previous videos, we have a spotted fawn that likes to hang around. He's a really friendly deer and is not really scared of people, so I fed him a little bit and he's been coming back around ever since. But I'm pretty sure I just saw him on the back side of the dam. Let's go see if that was him. Yep, that's Spot. And I'm almost positive that he linked back up with his mom, because late in the afternoon we'll see him and a few other fawns all grouped together. But I think when all of them go lay down during the daytime, He just likes to hang out around the pond and explore. And he'll probably lose those spots soon, but with that really bright brown fur, I think I'll be able to recognize him. Man, there's all kinds of wildlife around the pond today. I'm not sure if these are geese or not, but I have heard that they will migrate in this area. But it looks like they decided to head to the next pond. So I came over here to the back side of the dam to show you a couple of different things. So to start off with, we're getting pretty close to the pond being at full level. I'd say we're about a foot away. And when you're on the back side of the pond over here, you can really see the elevation changes. Look at how steep that hill is on the back side over there. And that's where we get all of our watershed from. I mentioned it to you earlier in the pond series, but we're going to get Aquascape to come in and build a waterfall back there. And there's a ditch that runs from left to right there that runs all the way down into Clyde's Cove. We're going to build like a stream going down into that area, and then when it gets right at Clyde's Cove, we're going to use a lot of those aqua blue stones like we did in the backyard pond and cover that entire area and build one or maybe even two waterfalls right there in that area. So that is going to be one of those projects that we're doing once the rest of the pond is complete. We've got all the fish stock, so it's probably going to be around May. Now, another thing I want to talk about, a lot of you are asking about vegetation and different things like that. Well, you don't typically put any vegetation into a pond going into the winter months because it's just going to die off. So when we do that, it's going to be springtime, but I'm going to be very selective about what we put as far as vegetation because you don't want anything that's invasive and that'll take over, because then you'd have to come in and spray the pond edges and kill it all off if it started getting out of hand, and then that can hurt the fish. So all the vegetation will be stuff that doesn't multiply like crazy. All right, I got the drone loaded up in the boat. This is probably one of the worst days to do this because the wind's blowing about 15 miles an hour and it's dirtied the water up a little bit, but we're gonna give it a shot. May come back and do it in a week or two whenever it's a little bit clearer. One of the first things I wanted to check out was the vertical standpipe, so I figured it'd be a little easier to do that from the pond dam. Alright, we made it out here to it. Now we gotta go about 12 feet down. Not a whole lot to see there. Let's go check out the oak throne. Man, I wish I would have done this yesterday. The water was a lot clearer and we'd be able to see a lot more. But I know for a fact the bait fish are going to stay in here, because even though the drone is a little bit bigger, it is still hard to navigate around all these limbs. And we just had another duck fly in while I'm out on the boat. Looks like he's diving looking for some food. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's one of those green glowing lights that I put out. I put 3 of them out, 2 around the dock and 1 of them over here by the oak throne. Alright, now one of my goals for today was to drive the drone through one of the tunnels. And it is not as easy as you think it would be. The water clarity is definitely making it tough. Oh gosh, and then when I finally got inside of one of the tunnels, it was the one with the brick in it. So today is definitely not going as planned. Not only am I dealing with the high wind, but now we got some storms rolling through. That's probably going to put an end to the drone filming. But hey, at least we're getting some rain. Let's watch a quick time lapse of it. Sorry guys, I wanted to do some more filming, but Mother Nature had different plans. You can see we're getting some green grass up there. It's starting to grow right here along the dam, so I'm happy. That'll definitely help out with erosion this winter. I definitely want to come back and do some more underwater drone footage whenever things clear up. May even have to get one of those channels out here that do the scuba diving for treasure. See what kind of treasure lies under there. Probably do that after we get fish though. Out here at the rain gauge, and it looks like we got 1 inch and 3/4 of rain last night. Not too bad. So I mentioned earlier that we were going to have to do something to feed the wild ducks that come to the pond to keep them around. And I had a duck hunter tell me that you can throw corn out in the water and they'll dive down and get it. So I got the perfect person for that. One of Sarah's favorite things is feeding the deer.
If they're on the dirt, that might attract them all the way into the pond. That's right.
And if they weren't, like up, if they were up, like up here, they wouldn't come down. I think I got a little corn in my boots.
And it worked like a charm. He is over there eating it, as well as the doves up on the land. Alright, now it's time to take a look at some of our game cam footage. Looks like we got Al Capone out tonight. He hadn't really been messing with the ducks at all. Usually just doing his nightly hunt. And we had the fox run through later that night. And we got a lot of deer activity, and it even seems like some of them are entering that pre-rut phase, which is still a little uncommon because our rut doesn't usually kick off until around mid-January. Not sure what it was, but something spooked them. And this is our smaller owl Hooter, who sits on top of the tractor on night watch looking out for the mice. And this is another first. It looks like the buzzards came in to get what was left of the corn. And it looks like the coyotes coming back through. And in the last video I asked you guys if I should trap the coyotes and relocate them or just leave everything alone. And it was almost 50-50. A lot of people said to trap them or kill them. A lot of people also said to leave nature alone. So for the time being, we're leaving everything alone until we see a noticeable problem that we have to step in and fix. And we cannot forget about the skunk that I call Pepe Le Pew. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite farm animals because he's out here every night. Looks like he was just checking out a hole. I'm not sure if he digs them or just goes and checks them. But he is definitely mischievous. Probably out of all the animals that come out at night, him and the two owls show up the most. It's kind of like they hunt all night and then sleep during the day. Alright, and it is time to feed Mr. Moby. Alright folks, that is going to wrap up this video. There wasn't a whole lot of pond upgrades or building going on, but we do have a lot of projects coming up, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all next time.